Hey guys, Rob Murphy from Holistic Healing Choices here. Now today's video is going to be about why it can be so hard to change and let go of those old belief patterns, systems and things that just keep us stuck. Now jumping right into this, a lot of us want to change or want things to get better. Now there's that whole thing that nothing changes unless you change. And one of my favourite quotes that we've actually got up at the clinic there is, life has no remote, you've got to get up and change it yourself. So why is it so difficult for things to change? Well, number one is it's what you're used to. It is your programming, which is why NLP is so good at that, because it can help change that programming. But if you're not aware of it, how can you possibly change it? So that is why, and especially now, I've been so into getting people to take that responsibility for themselves. Sure, I as a therapist can see the problem because I'm not part of the problem, but it's about getting people to become more aware of what is actually going on for them in that state that they weren't aware of before. So it's those automatic little things that we do. So it might be that you go to the cupboard, grab out a bag of lollies, finish the whole bag of lollies, and then think, I'm doing so much physical work, why can't I lose this weight? So, and you may still be aware of, I'm getting the lollies, but I just need them, I need them. My biggest thing is, ask the why. Why do I need these lollies? Why do I feel I need these? And that is what starts to come up for people. The feelings as well behind that. How are you feeling when you go to the cupboard? How are you feeling when you're denied those lollies if you can't have them that day? Do you get into a rage and just race out to the shops and go get something else? And then why would I be using this to fuel myself rather than something like fruit, vegetables or something else that's actually going to nourish me and nurture me in that way? So it becomes a thing of taking that responsibility, becoming aware of what's happening. Like, yes, I am going to go get those lollies. So as I eat that, why am I doing this? Why is it so important for me to do this? Is it just out of habit? Is it nurture and nature sort of thing? Is it to make me feel good in the thing? Is it to self-sabotage because I don't actually want to lose this weight? And so on and so forth. So it becomes that really interesting dance and that dynamic of, why am I doing this? And you can question that about everything that you do. So even if it is a good habit, ask yourself that why. Because our why is important. It's basically what drives us. Those systems, behaviors, and programmings and triggers and everything else as well thrown in there. So it may be that, go to work, you have a crappy day, that triggers that response for I need lollies sort of thing. But there's something behind that as well. There's all those thoughts, feelings, and emotions as well. Or maybe it is that you've actually become addicted to the bad feeling you have after you finish that packet of lollies. So in order to give your body that hit of whatever that is, even though it feels crappy, consciously, our body's addicted to that feeling. So we finish the lollies, we get our hit. And I mean, that goes for everything as well. It can be a financial thing. So we hit a certain limit with financial gain or whatever, and then there's something blocking us from that. But it's, we can do all the external work, but unless we actually ask ourselves why, and we hit and target that why, nothing changes. You can change a little bit about things, but you'll find too that some of that subconscious programming is gonna be fighting back. It's gonna have this war between each other. That's a huge thing of why NLP has its parts integration, because it makes those parts talk and integrate and basically come to the fact that they want the same thing. So why are they fighting? And once you realize that, once you're aware of that too, it changes a hell of a lot for you. So become aware is one of the biggest things as to what's happening with when we can't change, or when those new things start to fall away. How much do you believe that you're worth? How much do you believe that you're allowed to have that body? Or is it just easier to enjoy all that food? But can you enjoy smaller amounts of that food too? So it's worth asking yourself, when you come up against something that you've been trying to change for so long. Like myself, I have commitment and consistency issues. Maybe it's part of my Myers-Briggs thing, because I'm an ISTP, but I don't want that for myself anymore. I want to commit to this, being able to try and get a video out roughly every single day, and as well as that, commit fully to my business. there are bits and pieces where some days I think I could throw this all away and just get a boring desk job, just show up for a wage and do whatever, and then I'll have more time on my hands because I feel that business takes a lot of time away from me. Because it does. Like, let's be honest, I do work like insane amount of hours, and this is just something in between as well, and this takes that time away from my family and other commitments and hanging out with mates and all that sort of stuff. But at the end, this is my why. I want to help the world feel a bit better. Well, a lot better, but starting bit by bit and bit. So why would I allow that other stuff to come in? Those other thoughts, those intrusive things of this is too hard, this is too much time to come in. Because at the end of the day, this is what I want to do. These things and the massage and everything else that I do in clinic is what I want to do. It's what I love. But too, I start to get other little bits and pieces of trying to get to the clinic in time and blah, blah, blah in the mornings. It starts to roll me up. But that's just because I have a problem with boundaries too. I have people who arrive like 20 minutes earlier for their appointment than they should. And that gets to me. But that's just a problem with my boundaries. If I'm going to start at 9 a.m, I'm going to start at 9 a.m. And I have to make that known to them as well. So I'm already starting to discover a bit about this. And I'm starting to get my clients who come to me for NLP, and specifically with those bad habits that they have, whether they're getting way defensive, like not letting people in. Why have they got those walls up? Why are you behaving this way? What's happening with your feelings in that way? It's important to navigate all of that if you really want that change. And maybe you do need some external help with that as well. You can change your habits, change your behaviors, but if there's that little gnawing thing at the back, it's like using affirmations. If there's that little gnawing thing at the back, you use the affirmation and that thing says, no, that's all bullshit. That's all bullshit. So let's say, I am fit and healthy and a certain weight. And that thing says, no, you're always going to be a fatty, fat or whatever. And then, no, I'm going to use this affirmation. I'm going to force myself and bully myself to be this certain weight. No, you're going to be a fatty, fat. And then when that breaks, you've actually strengthened this loop, that negative loop. So affirmations don't work unless you do more change work around it as well and actually change the habits, but more so the beliefs. Start seeing the changes that you're making. So if it is a financial change, start seeing how much you can save and then believing that you can consistently save that amount. If it is a weight loss or a fitness goal or something, start seeing how far you've come and say, wow, I am fit in this way, and then, or I am strong, or whatever the case may be, or I am able to lose all this weight and I have lost this weight. And that starts to change that belief. So noticing too how far you've come. It's about looking back, not getting stuck in the past, not getting stuck with where you were or your story, but seeing how far you have come and you have changed as well. Now, of course, too, that victim consciousness. If we get caught up in our old stories and stuff as well, then we can't change because we have that fixed belief, that fixed feeling of who we are or were, as the case may be, once you start to change that. And that's okay to come from that place. But don't be attached to that story or anything else that comes from that place, because you can't leave that then. And once you leave all of that behind, you realize that things aren't as bad or as scary or as doom and gloom as you once assumed they were. Once you start to realize that, that's super powerful and that creates that change. So it may have been like a medical diagnosis from years ago, but if you stay attached to that story, you'll always feel those old symptoms. It's amazing how many people do fall back into that trap, like, oh, I sprained my ankle. Oh, I sprained it even worse. Oh no, I sprained it even worse and worse and worse. And I mean, it goes without saying about cancer and how many times that does come back for people who still get caught up in being a cancer patient, rather than the survivor or the hero of their own story, so to speak. But that is just a few quick little things on this change work, why we get stuck as well. So, become aware of what you're doing, why you're doing it, how you're doing it, the feelings involved and everything else. Don't become the victim of your own story, and take time and realize how far you've come. Realize how far you've come and how far there is to go. Like, if it is a weight loss thing, enjoy the process as well with that, whatever the goal is. So, and start to do those little changes and start to believe in those little changes by looking at how far you've come. Once you start to believe that you can change, you will change, and those old beliefs will fall away. But also to get some external help if you need it. It's hard to solve a problem when you are a part of the problem, rather than looking outside of the box, so to speak. And it may just take that extra perspective to be able to just allow that all to fall away and change completely. But anyway guys, I've rambled on long enough. I'm Rob Murphy. Please remember to like, share, comment, subscribe on this video, and I will see you in the next one.